I've had this for like probably almost 2 years, but there we go. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, the goal today is to get outboard, make sure the routing is working, and it's such a goddamn task. And it's like there's so many points inside of each channel. So let's say you had 10 and you got 5 points. Well, there's 50 connections, right? But I have like more than 10. Okay, I mean, I have more than 10. More than 10. Let's leave it at that. And it's just like, it's hurting my brain. And what it's really doing is, it's like, am I really going to spend a week trying to get everything routed, and make it work? And I'm going to admit that I think from the artistic point of view, as a musical artist, what the fuck, man? I just want to go boom and hit record and go. The most fun thing is not the hooking shit up, and the most fun thing is coming in and making something cool and walking out with something that makes me feel better when I listen to it. Today, I'm just struggling with the idea of, maybe I should burn this fucker to the ground. This is like my gold channel here, right? So it's a great sounding 1176. This is a modified LA2A that sounds awesome. And then the Audioscape EQP. And also, this is the 7110 that has a transformer in it. So this also does a thing that I really like. I think I'm actually going to be working, like when I'm singing or playing guitar or stuff, I'm probably going to be standing here. And it kind of feels more useful to have that stuff right here so I can have a guitar on and be playing it, but still just turn around and there's the speakers, right? Whereas if it's over here, I've got to bend down and I guarantee it's going to go bang and I'm going to like bang my guitar. So the practicalities, the ergonomics are starting to show themselves. All right, I'm going to swap this around a little bit. I'm going to move this over by the guitar stuff, which for the record, I think might actually end up right here. But for now, this is going to move. And we're going to pull this out of here because I don't know if I'm going to use it. I might sell it. This I'm liking, but I also might sell it. Let's just capture the scene here partially through this adjustment to the plan. This is preamps. 24 preamps out. The few extra at the bottom I would just have to patch in. And then these are 24 channels that go to the DA. But the first 16 hit this guy. But the other 8, the last 8 that make 24, go from there and show up here, which can then get patched in here. Like say I want to put a compressor or a EQ in this case on the kick drum. The kick drum's coming in this channel right here. So the insert cable runs from here over to here, and if I patch it in, and then it ran back over here, and then I could patch it into there. It seems a little convoluted. I'll give you this. So part of why it's important for me, I don't know about you, but for me to hook everything up and just start doing stuff is to figure out how practical it is, how much it enhances or inhibits my workflow, right? And as of now, I've spent 2 days now just doing stuff, just making noises, mostly on the drum kit. If we go in here, so super. I use Logic Remote. I started doing it last year on the iPad, and you know what? It is great. I like this for the transport. I like it for that knob right there, the zoom button. But you could probably use an iPad for your transport. Man, what an awesome mic. If you find one for a cheap price, don't buy it. Just send me an email about it. And then just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Go buy a warm mic. Go buy a warm mic. Don't buy this one. So I spent all morning just really working where I was going to put this condenser. It is about 24 inches away from the head. and that M82 is about 8 inches, so it's 3 to 1 away from the point of the sound. Don't have any issues with bleed. That won't work for me. The waveform lines up really good. I really like the sound of these two microphones and this placement on this kit. Okay, next day, it's Saturday, I think, and I am gonna move this here at a patch bay. So we're just plugging away. I don't know, making it up as I go. It's not wired in yet, but it's fitting, and I think I'm ready to commit to that. I think what I'm gonna do is maybe move this one over here just so it's closer, then I can string a snake and whatever, but I think maybe I'll bring these things down here. I don't know. You know, for me to predict it, that's just foolish, right? Because you know I'm going to walk in here and have some stroke of genius / stupidity and blow it all up anyways. But yeah, so here we are for now. I have not really made it any closer to cleaning up that nasty corner and getting the place looking better. I'm just going to say that I'm currently under the piano. And I'm not 100% sure that a nap cubby isn't a good idea. I'm not saying I'm gonna do it, I'm just saying. Okay, so sometimes it has to get messier before it gets cleaner. I have stumbled onto this thing right now, sort of a station. So you have mixing and, you know, computer-based focus, the preamps, and some outboard that I would use on the way in, track on the way in, or if I need to, I can send it and mix with it. But either way, I can stand here and the speakers are right there. So it's convenient that way. But this synthesizers, all the pedals, and using this, I'm going to set it up so that I can send the keyboards, bass, guitar, whatever I want through the pedals as need be. And this will be there'll be a bit of thinking here, but I'm liking it. I mean, this is just a pile of wires that could be out of there in 5 minutes. Got to envision it without that. But I kind of like it. This cabinet, I love it, but it has a rattle, so I don't generally record with it. Probably just gonna more of a piece of furniture. Can probably set some of my little Casios out and have them plugged in all the time and leave them on top of the piano. I think what I am bumping up against is that I don't have a problem with having every possible flexible angle. You know, it's fun to do that. It is very fun for me to sit and figure out how to give myself 19 options. But yeah, I just don't think that it's worthwhile in the ultimate end of things. I don't think that it's important. I don't think it helps. I think it's fun from an intellectual or from an educational point of view. You know, there's just too much bureaucracy. I just think that I want a little bit slightly more elegant solution. Now, sitting here today after 2 days of, messing around, man, maybe I should just say fuck it. I don't know how I ever got here with having this much shit.
Maybe it's time to sell some stuff.
So it is the morning. Actually, it's like 11 o'clock, but it's morning to me. So yesterday, I'm doing some wiring. I'm trying to settle on patch bay routing and which DIs I'm going to use and a bunch of different stuff. That's really just, I have an embarrassment of riches here. Everything I have would sound good. Well, let me hear my preamps that have DIs involved. So I quickly listened to one of my 312, the Platinum 312, and then I listened to the Great River, which I've always felt, the Great River is my favorite of all time bass DI. And I've really loved this thing. It has a through, which the one thing is, if you use either of those options, your you can't pull it back out and route it to maybe the Sans amp or something. I'm just gonna tell you that they're both incredible. They're both like beautiful, rich, clear. But the difference is the Great River has just an overall larger, smoother, fatter, fuller sound. And this one is clean and clear, and it doesn't sound small in any way, but it's got just a little bit more definition, and I would say basically like a little bit more like a tacky punch, and this one is just smoother, but it doesn't lack punch. It just has more of like, and this one's like, yeah, there's my review. The thing is, I just realized, why am I wasting time? That's the one. I'll use these for other things. I don't think I need to go through all of these. If you want me to sit down and you want to hear it through all those different DIs, I think I already made a video like that, but I'm sure I could make a better one nowadays. If you want that, leave a comment or two and I'll probably jump on it. And I want to not leave today without this room looking civilized. It's embarrassing to bring people into. So I don't, and I need to get some people in here. All right, it's Monday morning. I just walked in here, and I've been doing this little DI testing thing for myself, and I realized I couldn't stand the angle that these were at. These overhead fluorescents, which I hopefully at some point I'll be able to turn off and work, but for now I gotta have all this light. They cause too much glare for me, and maybe even right now. Oh my gosh, come on. Anyway, so I just took out the thing that was down there, and they're just propped. They're butting against this piece that is screwed to the thing. If you've seen the earlier video where I put this desk together, it's just holding them from slipping, and they're leaning. And this looks to be a much better angle. Like if I just lean a little bit, I got a nice straight on. God, it's crazy how, oh my God, look at how much dust. So yeah, it's feeling a little better. I spent last night looking at stands for these, and I'm like, am I really going to spend $100? Like, I don't want to do that. So I think this will work. We're going to try this for now. I downloaded this free trial demo version of New Gen Aligner because I'm figuring out my bass DI, or really my DI, guitar and bass DI path, and realizing, man, I'm gonna have to do something. Currently I'm going through the Sans amp, coming out the back, both with a clean and with an effective. So affected. So the clean's hitting the actual Sans amp tone is hitting this Sci-Tech or Neotech. So Great River and Neotech. And I'm noticing some it's been doing this forever. I guess I need to do more. Anyways, I'm figuring this out. The demo video looked cool, so maybe this is the answer. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a skip ahead for people. I have been working for a couple of days. This is all hooked up and running, although it's about to get blown up. In here, I have a ton of microphones out, like doing comparison testing on the amplifiers, which, quick side note here, so that this amp is incredible, and it's my kid's Christmas and birthday and everything rolled into one. And then this is my twin. It was modded years ago. To compare this to that or try and make this sound like that doesn't really happen, but it's a really cool amp. But anyway, I had been trying not to play that amp because it sounds so goddamn good. But anyway, I was getting my sounds and saying, okay, if I'm going to use this amp, how am I going to mic it? Where am I going to mic it? Yada, yada. Then I said, well, now that I think this sounds pretty good, let's just turn that on and see. And yes, I was completely crushed. I actually tracked kind of the start of a song or a few for some people yesterday. And we did some vocals, and that awesome mic ended up being the mic for the vocals. It beat out the Twin 87 and it beat out the K47, which I was surprised about. And it sounds incredible. But I tracked some drums and I did some vocals. Basically, we got the arrangement done and we got a vocal and guitars that sound cool. I actually, when I started to track the drums, I got in here and had some issues with my patch bay, and it ended up being I had something patched on the back side of that, which I forgot about, so I couldn't make channel 1 and 2 work. So I had to come in and on the fly of a session fix it. So I disconnected everything and went straight in, and so yes, I blew it up. The good news on all that is I am going to sell the Summit and the Art tube preamps, not because they're not great, but come on, I just don't need them. I'm not going to use them. I'm also going to sell that FMR, the RMP and the RNC, and I'm going to sell this 1073 clone by Chameleon Labs. And I love them all, but you know what? I'm a big boy and I got to make big boy decisions. I'm also going to sell this because once you've played that deluxe reverb that's in that room, no. Cash coming in instead of when you're just doing one track at a time and kind of conceptualizing and visualizing it as you're laying out your studio. It's not the same as having somebody sitting at the drum kit ready to track. You instantly see the flaws or just the little things that you would want to change. So here, that's where I'm at. So I'm going to change it. Somebody's got to do it. Chaos, confusion, insanity. What does the dictionary say refinement means? Because I feel like I'm just refining. Every time I change it, I have an even greater understanding about what that change was. It's worth it to not be afraid to make drastic changes, and all I can really say is it's worth it. I don't regret it. It would be fun to be done, but I'm not done yet. Okay, we're not wired in yet, but this makes very good sense to me, and I have the Chameleon Labs listed for sale, but I might just sit on it. This is basically trying to be a 1073 EQ. I'm going to patch it into the Great River so I could have a 1073 style EQ that sounds really good. I think I'm going to move the crest over there. Oh, god dang. Fucking starting from scratch again. I got a plan. Okay, it's the morning. Stuff is in, but it needs to be wired up. This is my patch bay plan for now. This is usually where I'm like very optimistic. I'm like, yes, look it's there. It's in black and white. It's so simple. I've thought it out. It makes sense. And then I'll start to do it in, I don't know, probably 20 to 38 minutes from now. I will be been a long day, but this thing, ins and outs are wired in for everything here. All that's left to do tomorrow is I have to wire the summing input. So I'm sending 8. I'll have 8 inputs on the patch bay that hit this. So I could either choose to mix, I can insert any modules I want here and mix them into here, or alternatively, I can send any one of those, anything from anywhere in here, and get a submix that comes out there. Okay? And then the Neotech is wired in. Those aren't wired in yet. This is part of this patch bay, because what I basically have is all these preamps and EQs and compressors, but essentially it's 24 channels. That's what I have, 24 preamps. So here's 22, and then I have 2. What I did is I made a couple little mini chains. So the Great River and the Germanium always have a 7110, and I picked the transformerless ones because these are nice, big, beefy sounding preamps anyways, so I don't think they need that little extra heft of the transformer, and these gives it. So I'm using my non-transformer there, and then this particular channel, because I'm going to use it for bass a lot, and this is like more like a 76 style compressor if I had to, you know, put it in a thing or in a category. This, then here's a LA2A to hit my bass. Also, this would make a killer voice channel, or really anything, but you know, so here's a great preamp and a LA2A. And then this one is just these two, the 76 and the Pultec float. I can use these on anything. Plus, if I decide I want to change the order, you know, like this. And I haven't touched this yet, but I've thought a little bit about it. You see that pile of snow? I'll be happy if they plow the parking lot. First thing is I'm going to get this wired into the patch bay. Like that. Done. But I got a couple other things to do. I got here today at 8:20 in the morning, and it is almost 6 o'clock, and I just remembered, oh, I should shoot video. So here is what I got done. I have those 3 patch bays wired in, with the exception of on the bottom patch bay, 12 that way. Those are gonna tie to this, but I might not do that tonight, because what I need to do is, these are all, oh wait, I did do it. These are all powered up. You can see that. All right, zoink, zoink. And those are all on that patch bay. This is all on that patch bay. This is on the patch bay. Ended up bringing stuff back from over here just because of the practicality of having it be so far away. And I think I can still make some adjustments here and be relatively in the zone. The top 3 aren't powered up. I got to run power lines there. Those are, I think you should turn on. Yep. I got to, oh, I still have to do those power adapters. But those have to be powered, and they are wired in though. Yeah, so I'm getting pretty close. Let's see. Oh, these have to be powered too. But pretty good day. It was a lot of work. It was like, I don't know how to explain why it takes so long. Partly because it's just mental exhaustion, you know what I mean? Like, you're thinking and planning, and then you got to go, and I've got to hunt through. And it's not, I mean, that looks like a pile of shit, but I know what's in that pile. And as I'm trying to lay this out, I'm trying to find snakes that make the most sense to use, or plan ahead where it's like, yeah, it works, but I might need that something else, and I don't have to buy another one, so blah blah blah. A lot of troubleshooting and problem solving. The thing that was most stressful today is I have somebody coming in to, it's kind of a writing session, but we're going to be track and bass. tomorrow. Lots of progress getting made. Just getting a little look here. I still got to run the power to these two. And then there's more sorting out to do with the converters. But I could right now, today, run 24 channels in. Where's that one? I don't remember what my plan was for that. I'll have to look at my patch bay situation. My patch bay might not be done. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's just one's been trashed. And they're there, and they're mostly wired in. The bottom 2 need labels. And the bottom 1, I'm still going to figure out exactly what's going there. What else I need to do? I am doing a tie line. This ties over here. And then this is going to tie here, so I can send anything from here to here and anything from here to there. And basically any piece of gear should be able to be routed anywhere. Trying to decide, I mean, I don't know that I need 20 channels or, 12 mono and 4 stereo. I might just want to use the stereo, kind of use it as a submixer. It would be so convenient if I like the sound of my stereo guitar DI hitting, just bring it to a stereo channel and, it'd be nice. I'd have a little EQ, I'd have, just use the preamps in this, which I felt like sound cool, but maybe they don't sound as big and beefy as if I use these mofos right here. I don't know why those are on. Which was my original intention. If I decide to do that, it won't be too hard to route. What I'm talking about is routing the output of this. Oh my God. The output of the... Jesus Christ. Anyway, I gotta get out of here. It's a thing. I don't know how it is possible, but you can meticulously wire something up. You know that it works. You know every cable works. You know everything is where it's supposed to be. And then the client walks in the door and it just doesn't work.
There are ghosts in machines.
It's end of the day. I spent the entire day playing with this and this. And then I added, well, first I compared that LA2A to this. Exhaustive A being decided this is the one that I pick most. We'll talk about how I was able to do that super easy later. Then I added the Clark Technic and thought, oh, that sounds awesome. Then I said, well, let's compare the Clark Technic to the Audioscape. This was a whole nother level of awesome. Mostly just, the Clark Technic has a high-end hiss, a little bit of a noise, which you don't really hear in a mix, so it doesn't mean it's anything other than just like, I'm sure, old Pultecs that aren't in perfect, what's the word? Within their tolerances might have a little bit more hiss than a newer one or whatever. So... But I'm like, well, okay, if I'm making a gold channel, then what I settle on is this into this into this. And then alongside the SansAmp into that Cappy, if you can see it. But then I started to think, which is always my number one problem, I thought, well, I want to kind of set this channel up to be my bass channel, my vocal channel. And I thought, well, man, I think I'll put this RNC in there and see what happens. I'm running the RNC through the insert, and then it's coming out, so serial, it's coming out of this, hitting this, then hitting the converter. Before I forget, I started with comparing this to LA2A. Then I thought, let's get a 7110 going. So I got a 7110 without a transformer going. The 7110 does so much more. I ultimately came to the conclusion that those things sound awesome, and I think it would be a totally acceptable substitute could totally get away with using one, but this is so much faster and simpler, and it takes up this much space instead of a whole rack for one channel. I'm flirting with the idea of either selling the 4 that I have, or maybe I just like park them on here. Okay, it's Monday morning. I had a really successful day, long day, which you've already probably seen, but I'm going to try something different now. Currently, I have my base signal hitting that, coming out of the unaffected 1/4 inch output and hitting this like it's an instrument, like it's coming from the base. Sounds great. Loving it. But I realized that this has a -10 1/4 inch out on the back that I think I can use as a through. And I really like the DI. I just think that it might be cool to hit this and distribute it over there. I at least want to hear it. And the other thing is I had been bringing the Sans amp out and then through this Cappy 312, and it sounds great and yada yada, but you can run this straight. You can get away with running this straight into the converter. And I just want to know, I want to hear, because if I don't have to tie up that Cappy and this sounds, you know, the way I want it to sound, I'm going to do that and let that be for something else, you know. And if I decide, no, I really like what the Cappy does, we'll live with it. You know what I'm saying. So, all right, let's punch in and get to work. I'm going to use this. One of the cool things about this Hosa PDR 369 is that you can flip individual channels going different directions. And I'm going to put on XLR in and out for this, for that, and for that. And that way I can have any order of compressor and EQ on either of these two. This one goes out to any of this stuff, but it has a secondary output which feeds this, and then this goes on its own. That'll give me flexibility. I don't think I'm going to put LA2 in the mix, because in my extensive shootouts on bass, I always blind test pick this. So I'm like, man, I'll just put those in there and we'll let that go somewhere else. I am committing in some ways. Yeah, look, stuff's set up. I got this. Looks a lot better than it did. And that works good. And a few more tweaks. It'll probably always tweak. But that's what tweakers do, is they tweak. Probably should empty the trash. Let's see what this looks like. Had to give, it was Christmas, so the deluxe reverb is now at my house where my kid plays it nonstop, because it is his after all. Things are looking and feeling good in here and functioning quite well, so that's nice. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, fuck you. What the fuck? How do you watch a video that's like fucking however long this video is and you aren't subscribed? What the fuck, man? Come on, fucking subscribe.